What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here and you're feeling really great today, please click that like button, maybe that subscribe and that notification bell too, as it all really helps out our channel. And just a huge thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here. Incredible stuff, as I always say, and I can't believe you're still doing it. Thank you so much, and let's crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from Morgan Clint. Am I the arsehole for refusing to visit my brother and his newborn because of what he did 2 years ago? I, male 33, lost my wife 2 years ago. Right now I'm a single dad of my 9-year-old son. My wife had cancer. It was too much for her to take, but she always said that our son was her strength. She was receiving treatment and spending time at home with our son. She always said that she wanted to spend as much time at home with our son as possible. She just knew. I took care of our son's needs as well as our household. Her family was very supportive. Her sister helped by driving her to the hospital. My family didn't do much. My brother, aged 37, kept coming over and making comments about how our home was a mess and unhealthy for our son. Claimed that he was being neglected and asked what would happen to him after my wife passed away. He bluntly said that it was unfair for our son to live like that and kept being negative and telling those things to my wife, making her feel bad and worried. I told him to stop coming over and to just leave us alone. I was angry with him and I went low contact. And 1 month before my wife passed away, I had a visit from CPS. My wife was home when they came. They did an interview with me and my son. I explained my wife's condition and they talked to her sister and informed me that someone called them and filed a report about our situation and possible neglect in our house. Eventually nothing came out of the report. My wife never stopped crying. She got very sick that night and I'm sure she felt helpless, as if she was a bad mother. I assured her that she was in fact stronger than most people and that the report was nothing, so she shouldn't have been worried. But she couldn't help it. My dad called me a week after, telling me to be careful. My brother reported me to CPS and was bragging about it, hoping they'd take action. I was livid. I got into a huge argument with him and all who defended him, and I cut contact with him right then. After my wife's funeral, no one visited except for her sister. I talked to my family, but I haven't talked to my brother for 2 years after what he did and all the stress he caused my wife. Last week, my mum called me to tell me my brother and his wife had a baby boy and wanted me to bring my son to visit him. I refused. She called me unreasonable and told me to let my son meet his cousin and uncle, to just forgive and forget. She kept pressuring me despite saying I don't want to. My dad himself said it's time for us to reconcile and get together as a family. I ended up yelling at them that I don't want to forget the scene my brother made before my wife passed away and claiming that we were bad parents, knowing that we were struggling and doing all we can. They just kept insisting I visit and see how it goes, but I still refused. My brother didn't apologise, I only talked to my parents. This is his first baby with his wife. They had issues with miscarriages in the past. Holy damn, that was a hard read, man. That brought tears to my eyes, thinking about that poor wife and what she was going through and how she was feeling, trying to think how she was feeling inside when your brother was calling CPS and her feeling like a worthless mother whilst she's already going through so much. Oh man. And no one visited you after the funeral and done anything to help you. What kind of family is that? What kind of support system do you have around you? They're nobody. Like we say in so many of these stories, family isn't always about blood. It's about the people who truly help you. And you know, your wife's sister is the one who's been there and helping you out. I'd just build that relationship further with that side of the family. And I hate to say it, I'd even go no contact with your side because they sound toxic as hell. Absolutely not the arsehole. If you ever do get to see this, I'm so sorry for your loss, and I hope you are doing better and your son's doing better and you know you're slowly building yourself back up. I can't imagine what you're going through. But Dumpster Fire FFF says, not the arsehole. I'd let them all know you'll go no contact with them too if they keep this up. Last I checked, the sister was the only one actually helping and the only one to come to your wife's funeral. They all suck. And Big Butt Man says, not the arsehole. He tried to have your son removed from you while your wife was dying and bragged about it. He'd be dead to me. And Dirty Work Clothes says, not the arsehole, not the arsehole, not the arsehole. 1. He called CPS on you for no reason. 2. He put unnecessary stress on your wife in her final days. F him, he would be dead to me. And Odd Dog says, not the arsehole, kind of hard to forgive people who haven't even apologised. Also, he didn't even call you himself to tell you he wanted you or your son to visit. He tagged your mum into it. You don't owe him any of your attention or time. And Wada Epp says, and quotes, after my wife's funeral, no one visited except for her sister. And then says, okay, well then, your parents lost any credibility when it comes to family matters. Not the arsehole. Now, how do you feel about this story? Oh god, man, so many feelings in this one. It's really painful to read, and trying to get into, you know, someone's head who's going through all that is so incredibly difficult. Oh man. But what do you think of this story? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for kicking out my cousin and his wife after they berated me for working instead of watching their kids? I, female 36, took in my cousin, male 37, and his wife and 2 children, 6 and 3, a month ago. My cousin lived in a rented apartment for 4 months, but couldn't continue paying because of his financial issues. He said he wanted to go live with his parents, but they live far away and he can't move away from work. I decided to let them move in until he could figure something out with his work. Also, my aunt asked me, so I found it rude to say no. I'm a paediatrician, my schedule is busy, I work in ICU. It's draining both physically and emotionally. Sometimes I can't even find time for lunch. I work long day shifts, evening shifts and night shifts, depending on my schedule. My cousin's kids are very active. I have many items that they broke, including a lamp I received as a gift. They even broke my late husband's vase. I told him this can't happen again. My cousin didn't replace the stuff, complaining about his situation. My place got filthy and uncomfortable. I started spending more time covering shifts to get away from all that mess. The thing is, whenever my cousin and his wife go out, they'd ask me to stay home and watch the kids. I only did it twice. I told them I have other commitments and responsibilities. I already said that I'm not available to babysit. My cousin threw a fit. I suggested getting a babysitter, but he said he won't ever let me pay. 2 days ago, he and his wife went out and told me to watch the kids for 2 hours. I had a shift I needed to go on time. The 2 hours passed, I got ready to go to work. I kept calling them, but line was busy. I had no choice but to leave the kids with my neighbour, mum, 40s, and sent my cousin a text to let him know. At 11 PM, I turned my phone on and found missed calls and one text from his wife berating me for leaving her kids with a stranger and called me irresponsible and neglectful. I was stunned. My cousin was mad, saying they couldn't count on me with the kids for 2 hours, insulted my job and said I must be leaving kids to die in the ICU, ignoring that he didn't bother answering my call. I lost it. I got home and argued with them, told them they were out of line and that they needed to leave. He tried to get me to talk to my aunt on the phone to get me to change my mind, but I had it, especially since they said I might be doing the same, neglecting with my patients. I argued with my aunt and hung up on her. They left, but my cousin didn't stop guilting me, trying to convince me to take them back. And there's some great comments on this one, so we're going to head straight to the comments for this one, with Boring Business Class saying, not the arsehole, these are some r/choosing beggars type people. You are doing them a favour, they can't even appreciate that. You told them you can't watch the kids, which isn't your job anyway, and they still have the audacity to be mad at you. Kick them out, because no matter if you fix this, nothing will ever be enough for them. They will still find something bigger to get mad at you for down the line, even after letting them stay in your own place. Edit, I completely missed over the fact that you don't like being home because it's messy. If only there were people living there rent-free that could do chores as some sort of thank you instead of just breaking more furniture and not paying for it. And Maledict33 says, not the arsehole. One of the first things that kind of shocked me when I moved away from home for college was that not everyone was raised with the exact same standards of courtesy. I had roommates that thought it was okay to be loud at all hours, roommates who never cleaned, so on and so forth. But how is it that there are people in this world who don't know how not to bite the hand that feeds them? And Will and Kuma says, not the arsehole, not your kids, not their house, not your problem. And Typical Management 680 says, not the arsehole, you let this go on for too long. It's not rude to say no to an aunt with regard to your home. You have to readjust your thinking. Don't let them back in. They are disrespectful, entitled and ungrateful. And Philia McKnight says, not the arsehole, they're entitled as hell. You were kind enough to let them stay with you, to offer to pay for a babysitter, to babysit the kids after they refused that offer, and to make sure their kids had proper childcare arrangements when they were irresponsible enough to not answer the phone, full well knowing you have a demanding job you had to get to. And what did they do? Accuse you of being neglectful to children. I wouldn't have any of it either, especially when your cousin got his mum on the phone to try and convince you he wasn't being a shitty person, when he clearly was, instead of just apologising. Rest easy, you're 100% in the right. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from Not a Mouse. Am I the arsehole for wanting to go to college even though my siblings need me? Hey, I'll get straight to it. I, 17 female, am the oldest of 9. Wow. Male 15, 13 male, 13 female, 12 male, 10 female, 7 male, 5 female, 2 male. Busy family. My mother is a single mother who works hard to supply for us but relies mostly off child support, as most of my siblings and I have different fathers. Though I'm only a half sister to most of my siblings, I still love them all very much and try my very best to treat them as equal. I got a job at 14 to help make extra cash. My days normally consist of getting up early to help get all the kiddos to school, or getting online for virtual school and then going to my classes of the day. I'm a junior in high school, before going to work right when school ends and getting home a little before midnight. During the day while I'm in class, I'm still watching my 2-year-old brother and making sure all the other kids are still in class / paying attention. My mum works at a small restaurant nearby from around 7 AM to 3 PM, but when she's home, mostly just sleeps because she's tired from her long shifts. Now for the actual Am I the Arsehole? Recently I've been looking at and getting ready to apply to colleges, but haven't told my mother. She went through my laptop the other day and found out I was looking up financial aid and looking at some state schools a bit farther away, 600 to 700 miles, and got really upset. She started crying, saying she couldn't afford to send me to school and that she couldn't continue to care for my siblings without me. I felt really bad and apologised, and we just sort of dropped it, but I didn't plan on stopping searching. I mentioned the other day I was really interested in a nearby state school, one state over, that offered my major and was cheaper than an in-state tuition at my state school. I was super excited and told my mum. She completely blew up at me. She kept telling me how selfish I was to abandon our family and that if I left, I'd be setting my family up to fail. She started yelling and crying, and soon my siblings got upset and started crying too. It was a mess that left me really conflicted. On one hand, I don't want to be selfish and prioritise my future over my siblings, but on the other hand, I'm just exhausted. I'm so tired running on 4 hours sleep and then just spending all day either working, babysitting or doing school. I understand that's how life is and that it's just hard and I have to learn to deal, but at the same time, it all feels so frustrating. I see all these other kids my age going out and having fun and doing teen things, and it makes me sad that I have to miss that. But I know it's my responsibility to take care of my siblings. I'm at a loss at this point and just need to know if I'd really be the arsehole if I decided to go to college. I'll still send money home as often as possible, and I'll get financial aid and take out a loan to spend as little money as possible, but I feel terrible for wanting to be selfish and leave my family. So many key words jumping out to me here about responsibility being yours and all this kind of thing. It's not your responsibility. Your mum chose to have 9 children and now she's using you as an additional parent to, help these children out. You're 17 and you're working all these hours and still doing school and helping the children out with homeschooling, and yet your mum does 7 AM till 3 AM and then goes home and sleeps. What? Where is this logic, man? It's so sad that kids have to go through this. Person's 17, the beginning of their life pretty much, and they're being manipulated into being the parents of these children. And I know she loves them with all her heart and she wants to do the best for them, but this isn't her responsibility. And I think in the end, your mum needs to be told that this is going to happen and she needs to get things in place ready for when it does happen. And it really gives me a headache. I can actually feel one coming on. The fact that your mum uses you in this way and she thinks it's totally normal, and to blow up at you when you want to go and do something with your life. I just find that incredibly sad. Let's have a look at some of the comments to see what they say. So MX12 says, not the arsehole at all. Your siblings are not your responsibility. They're your mother's. She needs to stop relying on you. She works 8 hours a day. That's pretty normal. She shouldn't spend the rest of the time sleeping. She needs to be a parent. She chose to have all these kids and she needs to take care of them. Parentification is abuse. You have every right to live your own life. Go to college. You need to think of your own future and how you will support yourself. And a deleted user says, God, not the arsehole. Please go to college. This is going to get you a job and help you be independent, not your siblings. You're being parentified, which is a type of abuse. Your mum was the one who was so irresponsible to have 9 kids. Striped Badger says, run, not the arsehole. And Joe Claystone says, "Oh darling, this breaks my heart. You are not the arsehole at all. You aren't responsible for raising your siblings. Your mother chose to have kids, you didn't. Her choices should not infringe on your life and your future. The fact that she thinks you should sacrifice your future to help raise her children is terrible. She is failing her duty as a parent. You are a child, and I am so sorry that you have had this responsibility foisted on you at a time when you should be free to be a kid and plan your future. You are not the parents here, and you shouldn't be expected to take on parental responsibilities. You definitely shouldn't feel bad about looking for ways to get out of the situation and build a life of your own. Continue your college search, talk to your guidance counsellor about scholarships and other aid that you might be eligible for, and move forward with your own life. Don't let your mother guilt you into sacrificing your future for the choices that she made. Good luck." An abject figure says, "Not the arsehole, OP. There are so many dangers in parentifying an oldest child, the first being to that child's mental health and discomfort with leaving home for fear of abandoning the family. You said you're running on 4 hours sleep. I think most teenagers require twice that much sleep. If you have grades and you can go, go. You are abandoning no one." Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you think OP should do in this situation? It's a really tough one. Not tough in the decision, but for OP herself, the way that she feels that she's leaving her own family. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And of course, the token poop story. Coming from Dinner Party Pooper. Am I the arsehole for pooping during a dinner party? Throwaway because my wife and co-workers know my username. My wife and I were hosting a dinner party, pre-COVID. At some point during the meal, I felt like I needed to poop, so I got up from the table and excused myself to the downstairs bathroom. After a while, 20 minutes or so, I was done with my business, so I washed my hands and returned to the table. I didn't notice anything odd, but later that night, after our guests had left, my wife told me I'd been rude to our guests. She said I had violated the unspoken, but according to her, universally known and practiced dinner party pooping rules. What? In my wife's words, the DPPRs are: 1. If you're hosting a dinner party and you need to drop a deuce, you must absent yourself to the upstairs/private toilet with a believable non-poop excuse, and you may be gone for 3 to 5 minutes. 2. If your bowel evacuation takes longer than 3 to 5 minutes to arrive and reach completion, it is not a dinner party poop and must wait until after A, after the guests have left, or B, your state of bowel readiness has progressed to the point that the poop will take no more than 3 to 5 minutes. 3. You are not permitted to befoul the public downstairs bathroom with poop stench. 4. Nor are you permitted to use either bathroom, but especially not the downstairs/public bathroom with its adjacent to the dining room, for upwards of 15 minutes, especially not when you have a table full of guests in the dining room trying to make polite conversation despite your conspicuous absence. I agreed to use the upstairs bathroom if I needed to poop the next time we had a dinner party, but only because it wasn't worth getting into an argument with my wife about pooping. She says it's not about pooping, it's about making our guests feel comfortable by being gone from the table for a long time, and for making the guest bathroom smell like poop. I don't know, I guess I think that bathrooms are for pooping and it's not a big deal, and no one else follows these rules. So Reddit, am I the arsehole for pooping during a dinner party? Now, I'm going to be straight up. I looked to the comments below on this one just to get a feel of what it's going to be, because I was really interested. And the majority of it is "you're the arsehole." And I'm like, what? I'm definitely the arsehole in this situation then. If I was putting myself in this situation, you know, I had a group of people round for dinner, and I had a partner there as well who was also entertaining, and I needed to go to the toilet. I wouldn't go to the downstairs one if it was next to the dinner table or whatever. I'd use a separate one. I'm not that bad, but I wouldn't think twice. If I needed to go for 20 minutes, I'm going for 20 minutes. If I need to, if that's how long it takes. As long as he wasn't messing around on his phone and playing games and stuff, you know, like some people do, and it's actually taking him that long, then I can't. It's what he needed to do. It's a bodily function. He needed to go to the toilet, for Christ's sake. And it's not like he left his guest with no one there. His partner was there to help him out in the situation to, you know, keep things going while he was away. But whatever, I'll accept my arsehole judgment on this one, and I'm still taking 20 minutes if I need it. But Boink the Clown says you're the arsehole for using the downstairs bathroom next to the dining room where your guests will also have to go. 20 minutes is a long time to be gone when you've got dinner guests still eating dinner. And Texas World says you're the arsehole. 20 minutes? My dude, you had guests. Not only is it rude to leave for 20 minutes, it's downright cruel to make them sit there knowing you've been pooping for nearly half an hour. Snow Scaran says, you're the arsehole. This is obviously not a serious issue, and it sounds like to me your wife's rules were formulated on the fly because you don't seem to grasp the issue on your own. But she's right, you should have used a private bathroom, and unless you have some medical issue, there's no reason you should have to disappear for 20 minutes to do your business in the middle of dinner. Any awkwardness around the table was definitely on your wife and the guests. However, this is not a big deal. And DSZ said, I wasn't aware of these rules, but to be honest, they kind of make sense to me, especially about not using the guest one if there's others available. Guess I'm going with, you're the arsehole. And Nappin50 says, you're the arsehole, your wife is right. You should have gone upstairs and not stunk up the guest bathroom. Also, if you needed 20 minutes to get it out, you probably could have waited until dinner was over. It's not like you had non-stop diarrhea the whole time. She's a little rigid in her rules, but the principles are correct. The issue is that you weren't a good host because you didn't consider your guests at all. They didn't need to know you were pooping as they ate. They didn't deserve the accessible bathroom to smell, and you left them guessing if the food had upset your stomach by disappearing mid-meal. I'm sticking to what I said on this one, although he's definitely the arsehole for using like the guest bathroom when there was another one available, 100% on that. But what do you guys think of this story? It's a ridiculous one and I loved it just because of that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Once again, guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you did enjoy today's stories, and if you did, apart from the last one of course, let me know in the comments below, and I hope to see you in the next one. And also, if you do want to support the channel, you can by clicking that join button down below for YouTube, or heading on over to Patreon, link in the description, and join in there. Thank you so much for your support, the time out your day, and just being here is absolutely amazing of you, and I will see you in the next one. Much love, guys. Take care now. Goodbye.